Still Tuesday, 10th of January 2017, and it's 59:31 Central European Time. This is a wee little video about some information in the periphery, so to speak, of the interests of Freiland. The only reason why I do this in English and not in German is because it indirectly explains some questions that maybe some people out there might have. Now, as I have explained in the past, I am not just Prime Minister of Freiland, but the Prime Minister will actually have several particular functions. He will always be, amongst other things, the Minister of Finance, or as in some places of the world it would be called the Secretary of Treasury, so to speak. And as such, it is basically my job to see to it that Freiland gets money. Now, traditionally, that is done via taxes, via introducing taxes, maybe increasing taxes, if nothing else, then collecting taxes. And yet somehow, even Freiland people, we're not all that different. Even the population of Freiland won't be that fond of taxes and things like that. So I always am under the pressure of finding alternatives of having the state have money this out of taxes. Now, there's just so many things one could do. One could work with organized crime. I'm not ever going to do that, I want to point out, but that is a theoretic possibility. Or one goes speculate. You know, I could take quintessentially taxpayer money and buy up gold or other resources or whatever, and keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that it'll increase in value. That's speculation. However, it's a type of speculation over which quintessentially Freiland or I or whatever will have no influence. So for all practical purposes, I might just as well go take taxpayer money to buy a bunch of lottery tickets. And I don't believe in that making sense. What instead Freiland will do is speculate, all right, to a certain extent, but in ways where Freiland does have influence over it. That really is the background for why there'll be a whole lot of state-owned companies, and that is really the reason why Fexmundi did away with all the state-owned companies, because the state-owned companies that previously used to exist all over Europe, not just in communist countries, for instance, even in ex-Austria, there used to be quite a lot of state-owned companies around, was because that actually enabled the nations, individual nations, to have control over their speculation and not be dependent on world markets and whoever, not speculates there, but whoever works the world markets, right? The doing away with there being state-owned economy next to and in competition to private-owned company, and having a hybrid form of semi in between, that doing away with all of that is part of Fexmundi's doing over decades and decades. But I just want to explain that for the same rationale, really, while there'll be a lot of state-owned stuff again in Freiland, I'm also going to do a couple of other projects. Namely, for instance, very specifically, Freiland will have a movie program, with which I mean there will be 77 million euros every year out of our around 260 million budget. I did me some maths the other day, about 2 weeks ago or something, I guess, where I started to just ballpark approach something like a budget for Freiland, and 260 billion euros for a country the size of Freiland is a very lean, slim budget. This is a very lean, slim budget, and yet I think that's the only right way to go. I want financially the government to be a lean, mean machine, and you do that with a slim budget. It's going to be 260 billion, but 77 million out of those, 100% taxpayer money, will be used to make movies. In fact, 4 movies a year. That's all we're going to do, but 4 movies a year, namely movies for the theater, movies to entertain people, motion pictures, so to speak, with the single intent to actually earn profits, right? So we're not going to do the art house kind of material. We're going to do movies aimed at making a profit. We're going to do 4 of them, and for all 4, we have a total of 77 million a year. It's not 77 million each, it's 77 million for a set of 4 movies. And why am I telling you this? Because I was working on these movies for the last few weeks, actually. I was working on what kind of movies those should be. I was even working on the script for them and the casting of them. And also, and here is getting to the reason why I'm recording this here video, what kind of music they are to have. And a whole lot of the music searching and listening to on YouTube over these last few weeks was because of the movie projects. I do want to point this out. for those fuckers who try to portray as if somehow I were trying to communicate with somebody out there via particular songs that I listen to on YouTube or something. That is not at all the case. Let's see if I can give you specific examples. My browsing history at YouTube has, for instance, I'm just going to read them off as they are here. Marina and the Diamonds, Immortal. That will be utilized for an animated movie out of the DC universe, which belongs to Freiland, I do want to remind people of, as the during a James Bond movie intro-like sequence, right? You always have these graphically designed intros to James Bond movies with the classic songs, you know, like Goldfinger or whatever it be. And that song, Immortal, will be used for a DC movie in year 3 of a movie-making program. An animated movie which will have a budget of 21 million of those 77 million that will be called Everybody Dies. That will be the title of the movie. No shit. It'll be a great movie, but that is the reason why I'm listening to it. And not because, well, but he says there ain't no immortality, and there he is listening to the songs of immortality. How does that work? No. No, there ain't no immortality. I'm listening to songs because I'm trying to see if they're appropriate for the movies I'm working on. I look at actors on IMDb, searching for people who are the right material to be in our movies. You know, that is what I'm doing. Or Jennifer Rush, Power of Love. That's going to be in another animated DC movie in year 2. As is MC Hammer, You Can Touch This, which will be utilized not in the movie, but for the first trailer for that year 2 DC movie. Symptom of the Universe for Black Sabbath, Back in Black by AC/DC. Barracuda by Heart, The Straightener by Black Sabbath, More by the Sisters of Mercy, Planet Caravan by Black Sabbath. All of those songs, for instance, will be utilized in that DC movie from year 2 of our movie making program, which actually will just be called Earth 3 with a hyphen. Earth 3. Don't bother if you don't know about the DC universe, but it will be a movie about ongoings on Earth 3. That's a fictive branch of the DC universe, and these songs will be utilized there. So there's no secret message I'm trying to send anyone. It's not that anyone is sending me secret messages. See, some people might interpret it as, oh, did they shove immortality to ponder his way into the fields, and is that why he listens to immortal songs? No. I'm looking for suitable songs for movies. Okay? Which means that Heart Barracuda, specifically, there's going to be, in that Earth 3 movie, a new, Wayne Enterprises has developed a new type of helicopter, which was offered to the government, but the government turned it down and bought some crap from LexCorp instead, and that prototype is called Barracuda. It was supposed to be basically a Navy helicopter, and because its shape is a lot like a Barracuda, I just associate, hey, you know, I could use that old song Barracuda, because that's a great song for it. And there'll be a little scene where Bruce Wayne will be demonstrating in his business suit, not with the ears, that helicopter to potential buyers. And during that scene, you will have Heart Barracuda playing. Okay, so that's why I'm listening to all these songs. Not because I was trying to communicate something, not because I'd be buying into shit like that, like, you know, is he pondering the symptom of the universe when he listens to Black Sabbath, Symptom of the Universe? No, he is not. He appreciates the great riffs, especially at the beginning of that song. That is why. Is he pondering what power love has? No, he is not. He's using that for a bit of a tearjerker scene in one of these movies, okay? Don't fucking paranoically interpret my browsing when you can't even be asked to watch my no-nonsense video. I don't communicate in code, okay? I communicate directly in YouTube videos. That is what I want you to know and understand. There. And that's this little video. And incidentally, I do want to say for the hypothetical future watchers in Freiland, that Earth 2 movie, that Earth 3 movie, there, not going to be an Earth 2 movie, that Earth 3 movie from year 2 of our movie program will actually make us tons of money. I mean, all the movies are intended to make money, but that movie in particular will make us tons and tons of money. This would actually be in total the 8th movie, because there'll be 4 in the first year and 4 in the second year, and it will be the 4th of the second year there is a chance that as successful financially as the first 7 movies will be, that 8th movie making us about as much, if not more money alone than all the 7 previously. Because it's going to be the movie to repair DC Comics and all of these characters. And it's going to be the most awesome thing anyone ever seen. And that will drag people into the theater, trust me. Even though it's going to be an animated movie. Because it's going to be an R-rated movie. And not in a stupid, for no good reason way, as they make movies in America that are R-rated for the most part. But it will be a European DC movie that will be R-rated. And it will kick ass. I just want you to know that. A little update for the people who wonder, what am I thinking of the whole day? I am thinking of a lot of projects for Freiland, our own 100% taxpayer-funded movie industry, bringing out 4 movies, motion pictures every year, with a total budget of 77 million every year. One of that will be, actually 2 of those will be, well, one in year 2 and one in year 3 will be DC animated movies. And that is why I've done most of the recent listening here on YouTube. And that's it for this video.